is News 3 Now at 6.
We begin with a live look in Minneapolis. Hundreds, if not thousands of people gathering now outside the Hennepin County Courthouse. It has turned into somewhat of a celebration there following the verdicts in the trial of former police officer Derek Chauvin. After 3 weeks of testimony, the jury found him guilty on all 3 counts following about 10 hours of deliberation over 2 days. The sentencing will happen in 8 weeks. New at 6, the nation's largest police union said moments after the verdict that, quote, justice has worked as it should.
The National Fraternal Order of Police, which represents the nation's more than 350,000 police officers, called the trial, quote, fair, and said due process was served. We have team coverage tonight on how Madison is responding to that verdict. We start with Gabriella Vaquero, who spoke with Madison's police chief. Gabby?
Well, Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes watched that verdict come through alongside many other community members this afternoon. I asked him what was going through his mind as he sat there, and he said he's relieved, but also acknowledges both as a black man and a police chief that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Barnes also used the word disappointed, not with the verdict itself, but with the fact that so many people felt surprised.
There's no one that I've talked to in the last year that wears a badge that thought the actions were within policy or within reason, and that includes the Madison Police Department.
Barnes says he's working with other law enforcement across the nation to reform some police practices and training, and plans to bring some of that back here to Madison. But Chief Barnes also told me that they do not plan to change how they are going to prepare and handle any demonstrations that may follow today. They say they'll continue to protect the First Amendment and anybody who may be protesting. And some of that is actually planned for tonight. Madeline O'Neill shares how the community is responding to the verdict.
Well, Gabby, we're here at the top of State Street on Capitol Square, where, of course, we were after George Floyd's death, and there's plenty of protest activity, many calling for justice. Here tonight, things are, of course, a lot calmer. We have a few people gathered here. There was an event for 420 there where there were people celebrating after the verdicts, people saying guilty, 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 but then also people who arrived after the verdicts with signs, things that say honk for justice, and a lot of the cars coming by have been doing just that, showing their support tonight. Also, a few speakers on the loudspeaker talking, saying things like, you know, the fight is not over. Of course, here is that honking I was telling you about. We've really been hearing that for a couple hours now as the community drives by. So still a few people out here tonight. They did just bring a grill out, seems to, you know, just be hanging out here at the Capitol. But we'll be out here monitoring anything tonight and bringing an update tonight at 10. But for now, Naomi Coles has more after she watched the verdicts live with a criminal defense attorney and shares his analysis. Naomi?
That's right. Attorney Chris Van Wagner says that he fully expects Chauvin to appeal these results, but for now, these guilty verdicts are a big win for the state, and they also show a strongly unified jury.
The fact that they did not enter a not guilty verdict on any of the lesser charges is very significant in my mind, because what they're saying is we did not have a big argument. We were not at odds. We thought the evidence was very strong. This is a case where the jurors found the evidence to be overwhelming on all counts.
Plus, Attorney Van Wagner says a guilty verdict on all 3 counts means any appeals have to take up the evidence for each of them, making all the results tougher to overturn. Now, 10 hours is not a lot of time to deliberate in a case like this. And it's also of note, he said, that the jury didn't have questions for the court. All that, of course, points to this being, for the jury, a very open and shut case.
Naomi, Maddie, Gabby, thanks to all of you for your reporting tonight. Community leaders gathered together to watch that verdict come down at the Boys and Girls Club this afternoon.
Our Jamie Perez was with them and in the emotional minutes after, and joins us now live to share their thoughts. Jamie?
All right, well, Michael Johnson, the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, called all of these community leaders to watch this verdict together. He said he really wanted to create a network of support in case they needed it. Now, after the verdict was read, Michael Johnson stepped away in tears before speaking to us, but when he was able to compose himself, this is what he had to say about the verdict.
I cried. I couldn't even sit there and watch the whole thing. You just don't think that, you know, when you see these incidents happen time and time again, sometimes you question whether or not, our judicial system would do the right thing. And today they did. And so I'm thankful. I think that some of us can at least sleep a little bit better tonight knowing that, justice was served. But I've never felt that kind of emotion before, and I'm proud of our country today.
Now, he also said that this is just a stepping stone in the right direction, but is hopeful that this can set the tone to fix some systemic racial issues going on in our judicial system going forward.
Jamie, thank you.
Downtown Madison has been the center of marches and rallies and calls for justice since George Floyd was killed. Our Brady Mallory spoke to businesses downtown about the mood after today's verdict and what they expect to see tonight.
Well, this trial has filled up people with so many emotions, and the question we've been waiting to answer all week is, would those emotions end up spilling out into the streets after the verdict? And so far, by the looks of it, the answer is no. We've been down here on State Street, and here's a wider view just up to the Capitol. You can see a few demonstrators are out, but largely it's very calm in downtown Madison. And I've been talking with a few employees who work down here, and they say that they're not really expecting many demonstrations to disrupt anything, but they are expecting maybe some demonstrations later. And in their words, they're calling it more of a positive demonstration. One person even used the word celebration. And I also talked with some employees about if any of the businesses have reboarded up, and largely no. You can see that some of the businesses that aren't here anymore, obviously remain unboarded. And then someone said some of the businesses who do have boards up, they are no longer here as well. But so far there has not been a resurgence in any boarding up windows or any of those precautions. So right now it's very calm in downtown Madison, and we will stick around to find out what that will look like later on into the evening.
Brady, thank you. The White House announced President Biden and Vice President Harris will deliver remarks in response to the verdict later tonight. And we've learned CBS News has planned a primetime special report at 9 o'clock about the verdict. You can watch that right here on Channel 3. And stay for the 10 o'clock news, where we will continue to have live coverage from downtown Madison.
Well, it's been a rather chilly day, even a few snowflakes out there. Let's get your first warn forecast with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti on the backyard patio. Gary?
Well, at least the snowflakes have been few and far between, and not everybody has seen them. But as we take a look at the live view for the WIC Skycam looking off toward the east, you can see a rain or snow shower in the distance off to the east. There are just a few spotty ones across southern Wisconsin, but you can see most of us right now not seeing any precipitation, even though skies are mostly cloudy. As we check out low temperatures this morning, we had skies clear out for a time. That allowed temperatures to drop into the upper 20s in many locations, lower 30s south of Madison. Current temperatures are right around the 40-degree mark. Near Lake Michigan, they're already dropped into the 30s, and that colder air will start moving inland as we head through the next few hours. So look for temperatures to drop into the mid to upper 20s by early tomorrow morning, with a widespread frost and a hard freeze expected. Tomorrow, look for a high of 45. The clouds will build back in. Could even see a shower in the afternoon, but warmer weather's on the way for next week. I'll have more details in weather in a few minutes.
Coming up next at 6, we are learning the details of a new deal the state of Wisconsin has negotiated with Foxconn for its scaled-back Racine County facility. Stay with us.
Creating family memories is what Maple Leaf Landscaping is all about. We design and build outdoor spaces that bring people together. Landscaped spaces for any size family. Functional, beautiful, a place everyone will enjoy. And it all starts with a free visit at your home by one of our landscape experts. So call Maple Leaf Landscaping today and have us create an outdoor living space for your home.
The new windows look great.
2-for-1 windows at Feldco really helped transform the house and saved us money.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
I wanted a new TV.
Right now, get 2-for-1 windows at Feldco. Plus, no interest until 2022. What you do with the savings is up to you.
2-for-1 windows ends soon. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Wisconsin is a home of workers. We know what needs to get done, and we do it. Yet, we've been hit hard, some harder than others. Our contact may be limited, but we still can lift each other up. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency rental assistance providers are working together to keep you safely in your home. You may not ask for it, but we want you to know we're here to help.
With so much time at home, I need new furniture.
Right now, during Slumberland's Build Your Room sale, you can revamp any space for only $20, $30, $40 a month. Check out this bedroom set.
Oh, I've got everything I need there.
Okay, how about some options for your living room? Just $20 a month when you spend $1,200 and pay no interest for 5 years.
Love it.
Build your room during our best financing sale of the year.
Well, hello, Slumberland.
You are watching News 3 Now at 6.
New at 6, a court-ordered monitor says Wisconsin's juvenile prisons have made a, quote, vast improvement in meeting court-ordered changes and in overall atmosphere in the last few months. The report was based on a March visit to Lincoln Hills and Copper Lake. The court monitor's previous report was back in December. It detailed worsening conditions. They noted some concerns about programming, use of force, restraints, and other issues, but said overall they have seen progress in several areas. The reports are part of a 2018 settlement of a federal lawsuit.
Foxconn will qualify for up to $80 million in state tax incentives under a new contract. That agreement comes after plans for the Racine County manufacturing facility were scaled down. Under the original deal, Foxconn would have qualified for $2.85 billion in state tax credits if it invested $10 billion and created 13,000 jobs. To qualify for the $80 million in the new deal, Foxconn needs to employ more than 1,400 people and invest $676 million by 2026.
State Democrats are proposing legislation that would eliminate fees for people who own hybrid and electric vehicles in Wisconsin. The proposed bill would end the $100 and $75 fees applied to the annual registrations for the roughly 81,000 electric and gas-electric hybrid vehicles on Wisconsin roads. Instead, a $5 fee would be added on registrations for vehicles weighing at least 3,000 pounds.
Video of that conversation on Twitter, President Biden telling the Floyds how relieved he was about the verdict, and he called it, quote, a first shot at dealing with genuine systemic racism. This is a White House, Nora, that has really been on edge all day. They didn't know whether President Biden would have to come out tonight calling for calm or if he'd be coming out to say that justice had been served. We now know it'll be the latter.
Nancy Cordes at the White House, thank you. Joining us now is Michael Eric Dyson, professor of African American Studies at
on our nation's soul. The knee on the neck of justice for Black Americans. Profound fear and trauma. The pain, the exhaustion that Black and brown Americans experience every single day. The murder of George Floyd launched a summer of protest we hadn't seen since the civil rights era in the 60s. Protests that unified people of every race and generation in peace and with purpose to say enough, enough, enough of the senseless killings. Today's verdict is a step forward. I just spoke with the governor of Minnesota, who thanked me for the close work with his team. And I also spoke with George Floyd's family again. A remarkable family of extraordinary courage. Nothing can ever bring their brother, their father back. But this can be a giant step forward in the march toward justice in America. Let's also be clear that such a verdict is also much too rare. For so many people, it seems like it took a unique and extraordinary convergence of factors. A brave young woman with a smartphone camera, a crowd that was traumatized witnesses, a murder that lasts almost 10 minutes in broad daylight for ultimately the whole world to see. Officers standing up and testifying against a fellow officer instead of just closing ranks, which should be commended. A jury who heard the evidence, carried out their civic duty, in the midst of an extraordinary moment, under extraordinary pressure. For so many, it feels like it took all of that for the judicial system to deliver a just basic accountability. We saw how traumatic and exhausting just watching the trial was for so many people. Think about it, those of you who are listening. Think about how traumatic it was for you. You weren't there. You didn't know any of the people. But it was difficult, especially for the witnesses who had to relive that day. It's a trauma. On top of the fear so many people of color live with every day when they go to sleep at night and pray for the safety of themselves and their loved ones. Again, as we saw in this trial from the fellow police officers who testified, most men and women who wear the badge serve their communities honorably. But those few who fail to meet that standard must be held accountable, and they were today. One was. No one should be above the law. And today's verdict sends that message. But it's not enough. We can't stop here. In order to deliver real change and reform, we can and we must do more to reduce the likelihood that tragedies like this will ever happen and occur again. To ensure that black and brown people, or anyone, so they don't fear the interactions with law enforcement, that they don't have to wake up knowing that they can lose their very life in the course of just living their life. They don't have to worry about whether their sons or daughters will come home after a grocery store run, or just walking down the street, or driving their car, or playing in the park, or just sleeping at home. And this takes acknowledging and confronting head-on systemic racism and the racial disparities that exist in policing and in our criminal justice system more broadly. You know, state and local government and law enforcement needs to step up, but so does the federal government. That's why I've appointed the leadership of the Justice Department that I have, that is fully committed to restoring trust between law enforcement and the community they are sworn to serve and protect. I have complete confidence in the Attorney General, General Garland's leadership and commitment. I've also nominated two key Justice Department nominees, Vanita Gupta and Kristen Clark, who are eminently qualified, highly respected lawyers who have spent their entire careers fighting to advance racial equity and justice. Vanita and Kristen have the experience and the skill necessary to advance our administration's priorities to root out unconstitutional policing and reform our criminal justice system. And they deserve to be confirmed. We also need Congress to act. George Floyd was murdered almost a year ago. There's meaningful police reform legislation in his name. You just heard the Vice President speak of it. She helped write it. Legislation to tackle systemic misconduct in police departments, to restore trust between law enforcement and the people they're entrusted to serve and protect. But it shouldn't take a whole year to get this done. In my conversations with the Floyd family, and I spoke with them again today, I assure them we're going to continue to fight for the passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act so I can sign it into law as quickly as possible. There's more to do. Finally, it's the work we do every day to change hearts and minds as well as laws and policies. That's the work we have to do. Only then will full justice and full equality be delivered to all Americans. And that's what I just discussed with the Floyd family. The guilty verdict does not bring back George. But through the family's pain, they're finding purpose. So George's legacy will not be just about his death, but about what we must do in his memory. I also spoke to Gianna, George's young daughter, again. When I met her last year, I've said this before, at George's funeral, I told her how brave I thought she was. And I sort of knelt down to hold her hand. I said, Daddy's looking down on you. He's so proud. She said to me then, I'll never forget it, Daddy changed the world. Well, I told her this afternoon, Daddy did change the world. Let that be his legacy, a legacy of peace, not violence, of justice. Peaceful expression of that legacy are inevitable and appropriate, but violent protest is not. And there are those who will seek to exploit the raw emotions of the moment, agitators and extremists who have no interest in social justice, who seek to carry out violence, destroy property, fan the flames of hate and division, who will do everything in their power to stop this country's march toward racial justice. We can't let them succeed. This is a time for this country to come together, to unite as Americans. There can never be any safe harbor for hate in America. I've said it many times. The battle for soul of this nation has been a constant push and pull for more than 240 years. A tug of war between the American ideal.
The remarks of President Biden after earlier remarks from Vice President Kamala Harris. We'll have more coverage at channel3000.com and later tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
We'll be right back after this.
Wisconsin is one of the top states in terms of how efficient we are in putting shots in arms.
Yet county-by-county comparisons are troubling.
I'll tell you what's driving the disparities in vaccine supply and demand.
Thursday on News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you, everyone, for nominating us for Madison Magazine's Best of Madison 2021. And thanks to our entire All Comfort team. Let's do it again. April 1st through April 30th, go to allcomfortservices.com and vote us Best of Madison 2021 for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical today.
It's spring, the perfect time to update your home. And right now, during Steinhoffel's Room Design Event, you can save 35 to 50% on all the latest styles and trends. And with Steinhoffel's Decorating Solutions, our designers will help make refreshing your home a breeze. Steinhoffel's has the largest selection of in-stock furniture and mattresses, all under one roof. The Room Design Event, only at Steinhoffel's and steinhoffels.com.
Goldman Cars is breaking into spring with huge savings. You can get a 2018 Chevy Cruze starting at $11,995 or $195 per month.
That's right. You can buy a 2018 Chevy Cruze at $11,995 or $195 per month.
Don't miss out on these huge spring deals with over 500 vehicles in stock.
So just hurry in today and ask for my sister, Crystal the Pistol Gobin.
Or my brother, Dealing Donovan Gobin.
You gotta go to Gobin, GobinCars.com.
Power Centers of Madison. Visit powercentersofmadison.com.
We've got the power!
Menards has the tools you need to keep your lawn the envy of your neighbors. Whether you're mowing, blowing, cutting, or edging, Menards carries the best selection of outdoor power equipment. Simplify your life with the right tools. Maintaining your yard doesn't have to be a chore. Get the help you need from the team that's dedicated to service and quality. Save today and get 11% off all outdoor power equipment right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
All Comfort Services is the area's most trusted heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical company. We're here to make all of your home more comfortable. Don't forget to vote us Madison Magazine's Best of 2021 Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical Company at allcomfortservices.com today.
You are watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. Children have been fairly low risk when it comes to COVID, but Wisconsin is now seeing more cases in kids than any other age group.
Yes, more students are back in the classroom, but some local doctors think it's students gathering away from those buildings that's leading to the rise. Amanda Quintana found out what you need to do to protect your kids who can't be vaccinated yet. Amanda?
Yes, over the last few weeks, Wisconsin has seen a 56% increase in child COVID cases. The UK variant is spreading quicker among children, but doctors at UW Health don't think that it's spreading inside the classroom. They say schools are doing a great job of masking up and social distancing, but it's after school where the virus has opportunity to spread.
I think where things have become lax has been with sporting events, and there have been a number of outbreaks and a lot of cases that we're seeing that have been associated with sports and other youth activities outside of school. So that's really where we need to start doubling down on our control measures.
Although leaders at the WIAA say they haven't seen any data to prove that. The organization has been encouraging masking and social distancing anyway. At tournaments, the players who are out on the field do not have to wear masks, but anytime players are playing inside, they do have to wear masks. Doctors want to see masks made mandatory anytime you are in a social setting.
Amanda, thank you. And here's Gary with a look at your forecast.
Well, we have one more chilly day to get through. Tomorrow will be that day with high temperatures in the 40s, but sunshine will bring us back to the 50s on Thursday, and then it'll be mild for a few days next week with high temperatures in the 60s and even low 70s. High-resolution Doppler radar, a few flurries of snow, a couple of sprinkles of rain out there. Most areas are dry at any given point. You can see a little wider radar perspective, some flurries and sprinkles up to the north. More general snow across parts of Indiana and Ohio, but that's moving away from us, and a widespread area of sub-freezing temperatures expected with freeze warnings from the southern Wisconsin state line all the way southward into Texas. Weather track right now shows the rain and snow down to our south, just a few light showers in our part of the Midwest. A cold front actually has dropped to our south. That divides the milder air to the cooler air that's across much of the Midwest, and then a secondary front has even colder air north of it, where temperatures are in the 20s across the UP of Michigan. We're at least in the lower 40s here, but there's really no mild air to speak of anywhere across our part of the Midwest. Tomorrow, tonight the clouds will break up a little bit. Tomorrow they'll come back, and then we'll start clearing out tomorrow night, and that will allow temperatures to drop off tomorrow night, but should rebound on Thursday. So look for a high temperature of 42 tomorrow, or 45 tomorrow. Be very chilly. Slight chance for an afternoon or evening shower. And then as we look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, sunshine 56 on Thursday. We'll stay in the mid 50s through the weekend. Maybe a slight chance of a shower Friday afternoon into Saturday. Warmer weather early next week with some thunderstorms about the middle of next week.
All right, Gary, thank you. We want to remind you to tune in at 9 p.m. tonight for a CBS special report on the Derek Chauvin trial.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you back here at 10.